hard have these 5 games been, and how happy are you that we're 26 hours away from the Eagle?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's definitely been a process. I think the hardest part is when you
Who TF are you? Sabrina Ionescu just exploded on Kelsey Plum for a shocking Caitlin Clark disrespect. What's up, World Hoopers? It's your boy Johnny Liquidator back in the building with another jaw-dropping expose that's going to have you rethinking everything you thought you knew about WNBA unity.
I'm just going to, reflect back and appreciate everything we've been able to accomplish together.
What will you remember from this team?
I think,
You see, the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis was supposed to be a celebration, a moment of solidarity, a shining spotlight on the league's incredible talent. Instead, it detonated into an absolute dumpster fire of pettiness, jealousy, and flat-out disrespect. And at the center of it all, the reigning queen, Caitlin Clark, and a bombshell moment delivered by Kelsey Plum that forced Sabrina Ionescu to step up and defend her. This wasn't just awkward, folks. It was a public declaration of war. And you won't believe how Clark hit back. Let's get into it.
Hard work, a lot of ups and downs, but more than anything, just trying to soak it in.
I think one of the things we lose sometimes when we talk about you is this has taken a lot of really hard work.
Imagine this, WNBA All-Stars, gathered for what should be a powerful display of collective bargaining unity, sporting "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts. A poignant message, right? A moment meant to symbolize solidarity as the league negotiates its new collective bargaining agreement. But then, Kelsey Plum, sitting right next to one of Caitlin Clark's biggest supporters, Sabrina Ionescu, decides to blow the lid off the joint and reveal a small secret. Team Clark, she implied, had no idea what was awaiting them walking into that locker room. Come WNBA All-Star, Plum just stepped completely out of line, and Sabrina Ionescu wasn't having any of it. This was supposed to be Caitlin Clark's home showcase in Indianapolis. Instead, she was sitting on the sidelines with a groin injury, watching what should have been her moment slip away. But that wasn't even the worst part. The real disaster came after the game, during the post-game press conference, when Kelsey Plum decided to take a completely unnecessary shot at Team Clark. We know Kelsey Plum was at the All-Star Game in Indianapolis. She made quite a scene, bro. This time, at the conclusion of the game, I was one of the first people to break the story about her actually making comments about Caitlin Clark's team not being at this meeting for the CBA negotiations. Now, we know the WNBA All-Stars came out with these t-shirts, "Pay Us What You Owe Us." The WNBA players had just pulled off their shirt demonstration, sending a powerful message about collective bargaining negotiations. It was supposed to show solidarity. Instead, Plum turned it into a petty drama fest that exposed everything wrong with how some veterans treat the league's biggest star. Think about the setup. Nneka Agwamike, Women's National Basketball Players Association President, Breanna Stewart, Vice President, and Alyssa Thomas, all on opposing teams from Team Clark, were reportedly involved in the decision to wear these shirts. How did it work out that the three biggest players in the Players Association had an idea about wearing a "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirt, made this decision last minute? That this is what the players will do, and somehow Team Clark isn't present for the discussion. During the post-game press conference, Plum was explaining the morning meeting where players decided to wear the Unity shirts. Then she went completely off script with this bomb, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. The room went dead silent. You could feel the awkwardness through the screen.
You're not patient.
All right, fire away.
Welcome back.
Appreciate it.
You said that you're not patient. How hard have these 5 games been?
Plum tried to play it off, saying, "I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just United Front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that." She continued, "But no, we had a that really needed to be mentioned. I'm trying to make a situation." But here's what makes this even more insane. Sabrina Ionescu was sitting right there, literally arm's distance away, representing Team Clark herself. The disrespect was so blatant, so unnecessary, that Ionescu couldn't hide her reaction. She immediately shot Plum a look of pure disbelief, rolled her eyes, and delivered the most sarcastic response you could imagine. That really needed to be mentioned. These WNBA players, they get more unlikable every day. And the blatant jealousy, the blatant hatred towards Caitlin Clark is, it's obvious. They don't even try to hide it. We got Kelsey Plum talking about these pathetic shirts that they wore out onto the court, and I'm going to tell you these players all put these shirts on. And like I said in previous videos, it backfired. The tension was palpable. Ionescu's expression said everything. This wasn't just uncomfortable, it was completely out of pocket. Here's a veteran player throwing shade at teammates who weren't even there to defend themselves, all while trying to undermine the very unity they were supposedly promoting. Want to know why Plum's comments are so ridiculous? Let's talk facts. When Caitlin Clark was announced as injured and unable to play in the All-Star game, ticket prices crashed harder than the stock market in 2008. We're talking about a 48% drop in less than 24 hours, from $121 to just $64 for the cheapest seats. That's not market fluctuation, folks. That's a complete collapse of demand based on one player not being available. Think about that for a second. The get-in price for an All-Star game in the WNBA's most popular player's home city dropped by nearly half the moment she couldn't play. Some tickets were selling for as low as $60 on resale sites. People were literally trying to get rid of their tickets at any price just to cut their losses. But it gets worse. WNBA ratings tell an even more devastating story. When Caitlin Clark doesn't play, nationally televised WNBA games drop by a staggering 55%. Her own team's games without her were down 53%, from an average of 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. These aren't small dips. This is proof that Clark isn't just a player. She is the league right now. Prices for the WNBA All-Star Game plummeted 49% after Caitlin Clark was ruled out due to injury. I can't say that I'm surprised by this at all. I mean, no matter how much you love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. When she goes, the ratings go. Simply put. Meanwhile, when Clark does play, the numbers are astronomical. Her return game against the Liberty drew 2.2 million viewers on ABC, peaking at 2.8 million. Games featuring Clark consistently rank as the highest-rated WNBA broadcast in history. The woman is quite literally printing money for everyone in that league. This is where Sabrina Ionescu showed exactly why she's respected throughout the basketball world. Instead of letting Plum's comment slide, she immediately checked her with that perfectly timed, sarcastic response. But Ionescu's defense of Clark goes way deeper than just that moment. When Clark was dealing with her quad injury, Ionescu was there offering advice from her own experience with soft tissue injuries. While Plum is throwing unprovoked shade at a press conference, Ionescu is building up the sport and supporting her fellow players. She understands that Clark's success lifts everyone, not just the Indiana Fever. The latest dig was this viral Kelsey Plum incident. I was in the room for this. It did strike me as very odd in the moment when she said what she said. I wrote it off as kind of awkward, but let me play it for you again, and then I'll respond after the fact. This is what Kelsey Plum said about the t-shirts, and you can see Sabrina Ionescu's reaction. But don't think Caitlin Clark just took this disrespect lying down. Oh no! The Queen had the perfect response ready when Kelsey Plum posted a series of Instagram photos from All-Star Weekend, including one where she posed in front of a Nike logo despite being sponsored by Under Armour. Clark delivered a 6-word masterpiece. Thank you for the Nike ad. The brilliance of this response cannot be overstated. It was subtle enough to seem playful, but cutting enough to expose the hypocrisy. Here's a player taking shots at Clark while inadvertently promoting Clark's actual sponsor. The strategic thinking behind this comeback shows exactly why Clark operates on a different level than her petty competitors. This isn't an isolated incident. There's a disturbing pattern of WNBA players going out of their way to diminish Caitlin Clark's contributions to the sport. Yet somehow, she continues to face unnecessary criticism and petty attacks from the very people benefiting from her popularity. The irony is staggering. These are the same players asking for more money through collective bargaining while simultaneously attacking the player whose presence makes those higher salaries possible. Clark's games generate the viewership numbers that translate into television deals. Her popularity drives ticket sales that fill arenas.